Welcome to another Airbrush Asylum video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to paint this Star Wars Legion miniature. I'm going to start off with some white. I've based him up in Payne's Grey, just as a bit of an undercoat first, and now just coming over with white. With my HPCS Eclipse airbrush, I'm just going to get nice coverage on the entire miniature, and then I'll come back in with the paintbrush to further detail. Okay, so now I've got a nice base coat over the entire Stormtrooper. I'm using an orange mix. I'm going to brush on this colour on the shoulder pad. Now it is quite bright, but that's okay. I'll tone that down as I go. I've got a slightly lighter colour here that I'm going to just use and hit out some light highlights while I've got it. Do these right on the edge, just sort of building up a little bit of a tone so it's not totally flat looking. I'm using sand and I'm using this colour in my airbrush, and what I'm going to do is just dirty up the armour. This is just the first step of the texturing. I'm just going to spray that around all the areas that I want that dirty look. Just working very carefully with the airbrush, pulling back on the trigger a little bit, but not too much. This airbrush is the Iwata CM-SB Micron, and it has a 0.18mm needle nozzle setup, so it's perfect for this fine work. And it's also got a side cup, which is handy so it doesn't get in the way. So I'm going to wipe back over most of these areas. I just want to get that sand colour on the armour. Getting a bit of overspray on like the gun and some of the other sections, but that's okay. That won't matter because the gun will be blacked out anyway, and the black will just opaque over the top, not a problem. And while I've got the sand, I'm just going to spray over the base, just deliberately building up some heavier sections on the edges. Close up so far of how it looks now with that sand. I'm going to come in with some sepia in a minute and further deepen those textures. Firstly, using that sepia on the base to darken off a few of these sections. I'm running it fairly thin. Going to drop the pressure down a little bit because the paint's so thin it is blowing it out a little bit. By lowering the air pressure, that'll allow that paint to hit the surface without spidering out on me. Okay, so now going ahead and I'm going to run along the base of the feet first. Remember, I'm going to come in with highlights over the top to pull all that out, but I want to really add some texturing now to the model. So being pretty random with the texturing. up nice and close with that airbrush. Angling that airbrush to get into some of these real tight areas, just to get some coverage, some of that texture coverage on a lot of the spots. Now up nice and close. Okay, so now using white, I just want to come in and brighten up some of the armour after having it detailed with the sand. So I'm basically using the airbrush now just to flat tone those panels. I'm still leaving a fair bit of the texturing, but I'll also come back in with some edge highlights at the end. Like, I don't want to totally go over everything. Good thing is the white is opaque, so it's going to cover over nicely. Now obviously if you don't have this sort of control with the airbrush, then you can do this with a brush, but I just wanted to show you that it is possible. Just getting the white back in on that helmet. Also add some more highlights to the shoulder pad. Still need to brighten up some of these areas, but I'll come in with a brush in a minute. But while I've got the airbrush, I'll quickly go over them. The key is I still want to leave quite a bit of that sand showing and the distressing. I just also want the armour to be a bit brighter. Okay, so now using the paintbrush and some black, I'm going to start to line some of these details. The gun holster, I'll make that black, and then I can shade over the top of it. And if this is the first time watching one of our videos, then welcome. For all of our regular viewers, welcome back. I do hope that you're enjoying this video so far. If you are, give it the thumbs up, share it out, and let's build this airbrushing community together. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing, tap on that bell icon, and that will notify you every time I put out new content. Just making sure I've got good coverage everywhere, and then I'll dry brush a silver over it to finish off the blaster. Black under the shoulder pad. Okay, so we've got all the black outlining done. Okay, so what I want to do now is just come in and deepen some shadows with the airbrush. I'm using a transparent black. Now we're going to do some silver dry brushing on the gun. So the blaster's got some nice gleam now. A few white highlights just on the edges of this holster, and same on the gloves. Back in with the airbrush. Just use the airbrush there to tone down some of those highlights. A few black touch-ups under here, under the shoulder pad. Just checking over the model, fixing up any bits and pieces that need fixing before I do the edge highlights with the white. With the airbrush, just going to render over the shoulder pad a bit. Now I'm going to hit these edge highlights just using white. Once with the edge highlights done, I might just do another highlight on the shoulder pad and then leave it at that. While I've got the black, I just switched to a regular black, so I got rid of the transparent black. Just going to coat over the base, over the edges. Get rid of that grey from the first tone. I think I want to reduce that border around the shoulder pad, so I'm going to use the airbrush and recoat it. I've added a bit of white into the orange mix. I'm still going to leave a bit of that black trim, but essentially just going to go over the existing colour and recolour it with the airbrush. I think I'm going to leave it like that. What I'm going to have to do now is clean up around it with the white where I got that overspray. And I'm just going to use the black to clean up in between the gloves, and just on the base, bit of dry brushing with sand. So here is the completed Star Wars Legion miniature. So to continue your learning, be sure to check out some of the other videos and playlists that I've got listed here. And until next time, go grab your airbrush, do some amazing artwork yourself, and I'll see you again very, very soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.